There is a law so certain, so precise, that when spoken with conviction it bends the unseen forces of the universe to obey. It is the command of wealth, the declaration of prosperity, the affirmation that riches are not something to chase, but something to claim. The universe is obedient to words charged with faith, and when you speak the language of abundance, the doors of supply swing open, and no man can shut them. Every word you speak is a decree. Every thought you hold is a magnet. The riches of the universe are not stored away in some far-off place, they are here, now, waiting for your command. Wealth is not a stranger, it is your inheritance, your divine birthright. The universe does not withhold, it only mirrors what is boldly affirmed. To command wealth is not to beg, nor to plead, but to know with certainty that every needed resource, every opportunity, every channel of supply is already moving toward you. When you speak, I am a magnet for divine wealth. I command riches to flow to me from every direction. The universe hears not hesitation but law. For words spoken with unwavering faith are laws, and laws cannot be ignored. Say it with authority. Say it until your spirit burns with certainty. The wealth you claim must appear, for it is drawn not by striving, but by commanding. The universe loves obedience to truth. It rushes to fulfill declarations of faith, just as surely as the tide responds to the pull of the moon. If you say, money comes to me easily and endlessly, the current of life adjusts to carry prosperity into your hands. If you say, I am rich in mind, body, and spirit, then health, joy, and abundance march in lockstep to your side. Every affirmation is a seed, and the harvest is inevitable. But take heed, there is no room for divided words. A command of wealth spoken in one breath, and a complaint of lack in the next, is a law broken, a seed dug up before it can grow. Speak only that which you desire. Live as if it is already so. See riches not as distant but as present. Act in faith, walk in confidence, and speak as one who knows the universe cannot ignore their decree. The wealth command is this: I live in a rich, abundant, and generous universe. All that I require is supplied. Money, opportunities, and prosperity flow to me in rivers of gold. Nothing and no one can hinder the supply that is mine by divine right. When this command leaves your lips, spoken with certainty, it sets into motion unseen armies of provision, channels of opportunity, and currents of supply that no resistance can block. Your words are bridges between the invisible and the visible. They are instruments of creation. They are the golden keys that unlock the vault of the universe. Speak them with joy, speak them with fire, speak them as law. And know, absolutely know, that the wealth you have commanded must appear, because the universe cannot, and will not, ignore the voice of faith. When you begin to understand the power of your own words, you realize that you are never simply speaking casually. You are issuing commands that set the unseen forces of the universe into motion. Words are not fleeting, powerless sounds in the air. They are laws, decrees, vibrations that shape the very fabric of your reality. Every time you speak with faith, every time you declare with certainty, you are sending forth an order that the universe is compelled to obey. The universe does not respond to begging or pleading. It does not recognize fear or doubt, but it does respond to words spoken as law, words that carry the fire of authority and the energy of belief. When you say, I am wealthy, I am abundant, I am rich in every aspect of life, you are not describing a future hope, you are commanding a present truth. These words are not suggestions, they are not requests, they are unshakable laws spoken into existence, and once declared, the universe must rearrange itself to honor them. Most people speak as if their words are powerless, as if they are merely reporting on circumstances rather than creating them. They look at their bank account, see little, and say, I am broke, without realizing they have just issued a command that perpetuates lack. They complain, they lament, and with every word of doubt, they carve deeper channels of scarcity into their lives. But the awakened soul understands that to speak lack is to create lack, and to speak abundance is to command abundance. There is no neutral word. Every phrase you utter carries weight, carries creative power, carries the seed of manifestation. When you shift from careless speech to conscious declaration, you rise from being a victim of circumstances to being the master of them. The shift happens the moment you realize your tongue is not meant for idle chatter, but for decreeing truth. Consider the difference between a wish and a command. A wish says, I hope one day I will have enough money, while a command says, I am provided for, I am rich, all that I need comes to me in perfect ways. A wish wavers, a wish waits, a wish doubts, but a command is firm, rooted, immovable. The universe does not bend for a wish, but it cannot ignore a law. A law stands higher than circumstances, higher than appearances, higher than temporary evidence. You may look at an empty wallet and speak wealth, and though the wallet is empty in that moment, the decree you have spoken sets in motion the invisible streams of supply that will soon overflow it. To speak as law is to rise above what the eyes see and to align with what the spirit knows. Every law must be enforced by consistency. When a judge passes judgment, the law is carried out, it is not questioned, it is not argued. So too with your words of wealth. When you declare, I am wealthy now, I am prosperous now, you have laid down a law that must be carried out, but you must also enforce it with your belief. The moment you retract it with words of lack, you weaken the law. The moment you allow fear to dictate your speech, you invite confusion into the universe's response. But when you remain steadfast, when you continue to command wealth with every breath, the law becomes so strong, so unshakable, that nothing can prevent its fulfillment. To command wealth with words is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual authority. You were not born into a universe of limitation. You were born into a universe of infinite supply, and your words are the keys that open the treasure house. Every decree spoken with faith opens another door, moves another mountain, breaks another barrier. You need not chase after riches when you understand that your words summon them. You need not exhaust yourself in endless struggle when you can rest in the certainty that the universe is already rearranging itself to honor your command. Think of the farmer who plants seeds in the soil. He does not beg the earth to produce crops. He does not doubt whether the harvest will come. He plants with certainty, knowing that the laws of nature cannot be ignored. So it is with the words of wealth you speak. Every declaration is a seed planted in the soil of the universe, and once planted, it must grow. Whether you see immediate evidence or not, the law is working, the seed is germinating, the roots are spreading beneath the surface. Your role is to keep watering the seed with faith-filled words, never digging it up with words of doubt. You do not need to know how it will sprout. You do not need to dictate the form of the harvest, you need only to trust the law and remain faithful to your command. The energy of your words is magnetic. When you speak with conviction, you send out a vibration that draws its likeness back to you. Declare wealth, and wealth begins moving toward you. Speak of riches, and riches are summoned. Say, money comes to me in perfect ways, and channels of supply begin to open where you least expect them. This is not imagination, this is law. The vibration you emit in words is the vibration you attract in form. Your wealth begins as a sound on your lips, and becomes gold in your hands. But you must not dilute your words with hesitation. A king does not issue a decree, and then wonder if it will be obeyed. He knows that his word is law. You must speak in the same way. Speak boldly, speak clearly, speak as one who knows that every word is backed by the infinite power of the universe. Say, I am rich in mind, body and spirit. I command abundance now. Say it without wavering, without questioning, without doubting. The authority is not in the volume of your voice, but in the certainty of your belief. When your heart and your words align, nothing in the universe can resist you. This is the wealth command that the universe cannot ignore. It is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of law. It is not dependent on your past, your background, or your circumstances. It is dependent only on your words and the faith you breathe into them. Speak as if you already hold the riches you desire. Live as if they are already yours. Let every word you utter be a declaration of wealth, a decree of abundance, a command of prosperity. For when you understand that your words of wealth are laws, not wishes, you step into a realm where the universe itself bows to your authority and delivers all that you have spoken into form. Wealth is not something to be earned through endless struggle, nor is it a privilege reserved for a chosen few. Wealth is woven into the fabric of existence. It is part of the divine inheritance that belongs to every soul. You did not come into this world to scrape and toil for every morsel of abundance. You came with a birthright that is as sure as the rising of the sun. The very air you breathe is proof of this truth, for no one questions whether there will be enough oxygen to sustain life. It is freely and abundantly supplied. So too with wealth, it is part of the same boundless provision. But unlike air, wealth responds to recognition. The moment you recognize it as your divine birthright, the moment you claim it with certainty, you open the channels through which it must flow into your life. Many have been conditioned to believe that prosperity is the result of sacrifice, hardship, and unending effort, but that is a deception born from separation. The universe does not require you to wear yourself thin in order to receive what is already yours. The tree does not struggle to bear fruit. The river does not strain to keep flowing. The sun does not exhaust itself to give light. Each fulfills its purpose by aligning with the abundance already set in place. Likewise, your wealth is already secured by the eternal law of supply. It is not something to chase after in desperation. It is something to align with in faith. When you see yourself as one who is worthy of riches, as one who is already entitled to divine supply, the universe responds by pouring it forth. Your divine birthright means that lack is unnatural. It is a distortion, a shadow that exists only because of mistaken thought. When you see yourself as unworthy, when you speak of lack, when you accept limitation as your portion, you cut yourself off from the abundance that is already yours. But the moment you affirm, "I am rich by divine right, wealth is mine now," you restore alignment with truth. The universe does not argue with your claim, it simply reflects it. If you claim poverty, you are granted more of it, not as punishment, but because the law mirrors your command. If you claim wealth, wealth appears, not as favor but as fulfillment of law. The key is not in laboring harder, but in commanding rightly. Think of a prince born into a royal family. The wealth of the kingdom is his by birth, not because he earned it, but because he belongs to the royal line. He does not need to prove himself worthy. He does not need to beg for what is already his. He only needs to claim it and live in the awareness of who he is. You too are a child of a limitless universe, an heir to divine supply. And your riches flow to you because of your identity, not because of your struggle. When you walk in this awareness, when you see yourself as an heir, lack cannot attach itself to you. Abundance flows as naturally as breath. Wealth as a divine birthright also means that comparison is unnecessary. You do not need to measure yourself against another's success, for their abundance does not diminish your own. The universe is not a limited storehouse where one person's gain is another's loss. The supply is infinite, ever renewing, ever expanding. The wealth that is yours cannot be taken by another. Just as the air you breathe cannot be stolen from your lungs, the only way to lose sight of your portion is to believe you do not have one. The moment you shift your focus inward and declare, "My riches are mine, prepared for me before I even asked," you step back into the flow that was always yours. This divine birthright extends beyond money. True wealth is wholeness in every dimension of life. It is health that radiates through the body, joy that saturates the spirit, peace that fills the mind, and opportunities that unfold effortlessly. Money is only one form of wealth, a symbol of the greater abundance that surrounds you. When you claim your divine inheritance, you claim fullness in every area. The body responds with vitality, relationships blossom with harmony, doors of advancement swing open with ease. Every aspect of life reflects the same truth: you are rich, you are supplied, you are cared for by a universe that cannot run dry. To live with the awareness of wealth as a birthright is to live free from fear. Fear of lack, fear of loss, fear of not having enough fall away when you know you cannot be cut off from your source. Just as a wave cannot be separated from the ocean, you cannot be separated from the infinite supply that gave you life. Fear only arises when you see yourself as disconnected, as vulnerable, as subject to chance. But when you affirm your birthright, fear dissolves and faith takes its place. And faith is the magnet that draws your inheritance from the unseen into the seen. The great error that many make is believing that wealth is something they must beg for, prove worthy of, or chase with endless labor. But a birthright cannot be earned. It can only be acknowledged. A child does not earn the love of a parent. It is given because of belonging. In the same way, you do not earn divine wealth. It is given because you belong to the universe that is abundant by nature. The more you affirm this belonging, the more you see its evidence in your world. Say to yourself daily, I inherit wealth, I live in wealth, I am wealth. Let these words shape your consciousness until they feel as natural as breathing. The universe does not resist the one who claims their birthright. It rejoices in their recognition of truth. Wealth is not an external prize. It is an internal alignment. The riches you see in the outer world are reflections of the inner, knowing that you are already supplied. When you look within and accept abundance as your portion, the outer world adjusts itself to reflect that acceptance. New opportunities appear, unexpected channels of income open, doors swing wide that were once closed. What seemed impossible before becomes effortless because the law of your birthright is working without strain. And this law never fails. It is as certain as gravity, as constant as the rising of the sun. You need only to live in remembrance. Each time doubt whispers, return to the truth. Each time lack presents itself, declare the opposite. Each time fear tries to shake you, speak your birthright louder. The universe is always listening, always responding, always reflecting the consciousness you hold. The moment you choose to see yourself as the rightful heir of infinite supply. The moment you choose to affirm your inheritance as fact, wealth in all its forms rushes to meet you. For the universe cannot withhold from one who knows they are already rich, already supplied, already crowned with the abundance that is theirs by divine right. Faith is the unseen current that turns words into reality, the invisible force that unlocks the supply of the universe and draws it into tangible form. Without faith, words remain empty shells, but when infused with certainty, they become living laws that the universe cannot resist. To command wealth with words alone is to strike a note, but to combine words with unwavering faith is to sound a vibration so powerful that it rearranges conditions, opportunities, and circumstances in perfect alignment with your decree. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is not hoping for something to happen someday. Faith is the absolute knowing that what you have spoken is already true in the invisible realm and must appear in the visible. It is the confidence that your words are not idle, but charged with divine authority, backed by the infinite power that governs the cosmos. Faith does not rely on appearances. Appearances may show an empty account, a closed door, a blocked path, yet faith looks beyond appearances and sees only the abundance that exists in the unseen. Faith refuses to be moved by temporary conditions, for it knows conditions are shadows that shift and fade, but truth is eternal. When you say, I am wealthy, my supply flows freely to me, faith does not check the balance in your bank. Faith declares it as law regardless of evidence. And because faith is unshakable, the universe must shape itself to match the declaration. The supply hidden from the senses begins to take form, channels open where none seemed possible, and wealth comes in ways that cannot be explained by logic alone. To live in faith is to walk as though you already possess the riches you have spoken of. It is to act, to feel, and to speak from the place of fulfillment, not from the place of lack. When you buy something, faith knows that more supply will replace it. When you give freely, faith knows that giving multiplies return. When you see others prosper, faith rejoices, knowing that their prosperity is proof of the same law working for you. Faith does not fear loss, for it knows supply is infinite. Faith does not doubt timing, for it knows every manifestation unfolds at the perfect moment. Faith does not waver when obstacles appear, for it knows that obstacles are only appearances, destined to dissolve under the law of truth. Faith-filled commands have a sound that is different from ordinary speech. The words may be the same, but the energy behind them is unshakable. When you declare, money comes to me in perfect ways, and your heart is brimming with certainty, the vibration goes out like a magnetic wave, drawing to you every opportunity, every resource, every channel that aligns with that decree. If another speaks the same words in fear or doubt, the universe hears confusion and mirrors it back. It is not the string of words that carries power, but the faith behind them. Words without faith are like seeds scattered on stone. But words with faith are seeds planted in fertile soil, destined to bring forth a harvest. Faith is exercised not only in great declarations but also in the quiet moments of thought. Each time a doubt arises, and you replace it with affirmation, you are training your mind to walk by faith. Each time fear whispers, "What if there isn't enough?" and you respond, "There is always more than enough for me." You strengthen your command. Each time circumstances tempt you to despair and you instead declare, "I live in abundance. Wealth is flowing to me now." You weave faith more deeply into your consciousness. It is not the absence of doubt that makes faith powerful, but the persistence of truth in the face of doubt. The more you affirm, the more your inner world transforms, until doubt loses its hold entirely. When faith and command are joined, miracles unfold. The business deal materializes from an unexpected introduction. The opportunity appears through a chance encounter. The solution rises in the mind at just the right moment. These are not coincidences, they are the universe responding to law. Faith-filled words are not mere requests. They are divine decrees, and the universe delights in fulfilling them. Every atom of existence listens for the vibration of certainty, and when it hears it, it moves swiftly to obey. Faith also requires patience, not the patience of waiting in frustration, but the patience of knowing the harvest is inevitable. A farmer who plants a seed does not dig it up each day to see if it has grown. He trusts the process. Likewise, when you command wealth with faith, you do not waver if it does not appear instantly. You remain steadfast, knowing the law is at work beneath the surface. Impatience is rooted in doubt, but patience is rooted in faith. Patience says, "It is already mine, it is already done, and it will appear at the right time." There is a calmness that comes with faith, a peace that no outer condition can disturb. While others may be anxious about the economy, the markets, or the future, the one who lives by faith stands serene, knowing their wealth does not depend on outer systems but on universal law. This peace itself becomes a magnet, drawing more abundance, for the universe mirrors the calm assurance that wealth is already secured. In contrast, anxiety repels abundance, for it declares, "I do not believe supply will come." The universe can only return to you what you have affirmed, and faith always affirms supply, always affirms provision, always affirms wealth. To cultivate faith is to immerse yourself daily in the language of abundance. Read, speak, and surround yourself with truth until it becomes the only reality you know. Affirm in the morning, "I am divinely supplied, I command wealth now." Affirm in the evening, "Riches flow to me freely, endlessly, perfectly." Let these words saturate your mind until faith is the natural state of your being. Over time, faith ceases to be effort and becomes identity. You no longer try to believe, you simply know. And when you know, your commands are irresistible. Faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the invisible force that translates words into form. Without faith, words fall to the ground, but with faith, words rise into manifestation. Faith makes the invisible visible, the intangible tangible, the unseen seen. It is the force that takes your declaration of wealth and clothes it in opportunities, in checks, in contracts, in doors that open wide before you. Every fortune that has ever been built began with a declaration spoken in faith, and every lasting wealth is sustained by it. To command without faith is to speak empty words, but to command with faith is to unleash the creative power of the universe itself. Consistency is the secret thread that weaves words of power into tangible wealth. It is not enough to declare abundance once, and then fall back into speech of lack. For every word you speak is a seed, and seeds require constant nurturing to grow. The universe is precise, exact, and responsive, and when it receives mixed commands it cannot deliver a clear harvest. To speak, "I am wealthy," in the morning and "I am broke," in the evening is to plant seeds of abundance and uproot them with your own hands. Consistency creates manifestation because it reinforces the law again and again until no other vibration can interfere. The universe cannot ignore a voice that speaks the same command with unshakable persistence. For repetition strengthens belief and belief becomes law. Consistency is a form of faith in action. It is the discipline of holding your words, steady even when appearances tempt you to say otherwise. The outer world may present challenges, it may display evidence of lack, But consistency refuses to align with appearances and instead aligns with truth. To say, I am supplied, I am prosperous, I am abundant, day after day, regardless of circumstances, is to stand as an unmovable pillar in the face of shifting winds. Every consistent affirmation presses the command deeper into the subconscious mind, where it begins to shape thought, perception, and expectation. And once expectation changes, conditions follow, for the outer is always a mirror of the inner. Think of the sculptor chiseling away at stone. Each strike of the tool may seem small and insignificant, yet over time the form emerges. So it is with consistent words of abundance. Each declaration may seem simple, but spoken over and over they carve wealth into the fabric of your reality. The one who speaks today and doubts tomorrow never sees the figure take shape, but the one who continues, who holds firm, eventually reveals the masterpiece. Consistency does not allow doubt to halt the process. It carries on until the law completes its work. There is great power in rhythm. The beating of the heart, the rising and setting of the sun, the tides of the ocean all operate in perfect consistency. They do not skip or falter, they flow in steady harmony, and because of this steadiness life is sustained. When you establish a rhythm of speaking wealth, you align yourself with the very pattern of creation. You become like the heartbeat, steady, unwavering, certain. Each time you declare prosperity, you reinforce the rhythm until it becomes the natural pulse of your being. And when wealth becomes your rhythm, lack cannot find a place to dwell. Consistency also protects against the erosion of negativity. In a world filled with voices of doubt, fear, and limitation, it is easy to be swayed if you are not firmly rooted. But when you make a habit of consistent affirmation, when you train yourself to return again and again to words of truth, outside voices lose their power. You may hear others speak of recession, of lack, of difficulty, but you will not join their chorus, for your song is different. You will not echo their fears, for your command is set. You will respond not with agreement but with authority, declaring, I live in abundance. My wealth is secure. Consistency builds a shield that keeps you anchored in truth, no matter the storm around you. Consider also how consistency shapes belief. Belief is not formed in an instant, it is shaped by repetition. The child who hears words of encouragement grows into confidence because the message was repeated again and again. The mind accepts as true whatever it hears most often. If you have lived years repeating words of lack, it is natural that scarcity appears. But when you reverse the habit and consistently affirm wealth, the mind accepts abundance as the only reality. The subconscious does not argue, it absorbs. When fed a steady diet of wealth-filled words, it begins to expect wealth. And expectation is the magnet that draws the supply into form. Consistency does not mean force, it means steadiness. You need not strain to believe. You need only to persist. You need not shout to be heard. You need only to remain faithful in your declarations. Whispered daily with certainty, your affirmations are as powerful as grand proclamations. What matters is not the volume but the rhythm, the constancy of speaking truth regardless of conditions. Each time you affirm, you reinforce the law, and each reinforcement brings you closer to manifestation. The power of consistency is seen in nature. A drop of water falling steadily on stone will, over time, carve a groove. The single drop seems powerless, yet its persistence wears down the hardest surface. So too with your words. A single declaration may seem small against the weight of past experience, but spoken daily, consistently, they reshape even the most stubborn conditions. Scarcity, no matter how entrenched, cannot withstand the steady flow of abundance spoken in faith. Consistency also aligns with gratitude. When you consistently affirm wealth, you naturally begin to feel gratitude for the abundance that is already present. Gratitude strengthens the flow, for it affirms that you recognize supply. To give thanks daily for riches, even before they appear, is to act as though they are already yours. And this consistent act of thanksgiving draws them closer. Gratitude and consistency work together as powerful allies, creating a current of wealth that grows stronger with every word. The test of consistency often comes in moments of delay. When the manifestation does not appear as quickly as expected, doubt seeks to creep in. It whispers, perhaps the law is not working, perhaps your words are empty. But the consistent soul does not bend to these whispers. They continue to declare, continue to affirm, continue to hold fast. They understand that delay is not denial, but the unfolding of perfect timing. Consistency in the face of delay is the mark of true mastery, for it shows faith that does not waver, a command that does not weaken. Consistency is not only about words spoken, it is also about actions taken. To live consistently with your declarations is to embody wealth in every choice. Speak abundance and also act abundantly. Carry yourself with dignity, give generously. Make decisions as one who knows supply is endless. When your actions match your words, the consistency is complete, and the universe responds with multiplied power. Words and actions together form a unified command that cannot be ignored. In truth, consistency is the bridge between the first declaration and the final manifestation. It is the golden thread that holds the law in place until it completes its work. Without consistency, even the strongest command may falter, but with consistency, even the smallest seed of faith will grow into abundance beyond measure. The universe does not resist the one who is steadfast, for steadfastness is proof of certainty, and certainty is law. The more consistent your words, the more solid your foundation, and the more swiftly wealth appears in form, flowing to you in streams that cannot be stopped. Prosperity is the natural outcome of aligning with truth, for truth is abundance. And the moment you bring yourself into obedience with it, supply flows as effortlessly as light pours from the sun. The universe is structured to respond to truth, not illusion, and when you affirm, act, and live as though wealth is already yours, you set yourself in harmony with the eternal laws that govern provision. It is not force that brings riches, nor is it struggle, but alignment with the reality that you are never separate from supply. To live in obedience of truth is to stop contradicting abundance with words of lack, to stop opposing prosperity with thoughts of fear, to stop resisting wealth with actions rooted in doubt. Instead, it is to affirm constantly, I am rich, I am provided for, I am surrounded by endless supply. And then to carry yourself as one who knows it is so. The universe responds to certainty the way a mirror responds to an image. It cannot distort what you present. It can only reflect it faithfully. When you stand in front of the mirror of life and declare wealth with conviction, life reflects wealth back. When you speak poverty, life reflects poverty back. The mirror does not choose what to reflect, it simply obeys what is shown to it. So too does the universe obey the image you hold and the truth you declare. If you wish to see riches reflected, you must present riches in your words, in your thoughts, in your attitude. You cannot carry an image of lack and expect prosperity, for the mirror cannot reflect what is not shown. The universe is neutral, it bends toward truth spoken with faith, and abundance is the highest truth. Living as if abundance is already yours is a form of obedience that unlocks wealth in visible ways. When you walk with confidence, when you carry gratitude, when you act generously even in small ways, you declare to the universe, I trust my supply, I know who I am. I live in abundance. The universe cannot ignore such alignment, for it is compelled to reflect back to you the riches that match your state of being. Opportunities find their way into your path, doors open. Unexpected channels of money appear, not because you forced them, but because you obeyed the law of truth that abundance is already yours. Obedience to truth is also about guarding your tongue. If every word is a law, then every careless word of lack is a false decree, and false decrees delay manifestation. To live in prosperity, you must align every word with truth. Say only what you want to see, declare only what you desire to experience. Replace every complaint with an affirmation, every doubt with a decree, every fear with a command of abundance. The more faithfully you align your words with truth, the faster the universe responds with evidence. It is the same with thought. Every thought is a seed, and obedience means planting only what you want to harvest. Train your mind to dwell on riches, to imagine prosperity, to picture yourself living in overflow. Do not entertain visions of debt or fear, for they are illusions that weaken your command. When your thoughts match your words and both are aligned with truth, the vibration you send out is irresistible. It calls wealth to you as surely as a magnet draws iron, for the universe cannot resist alignment. Action too must come into obedience. Prosperity is not only spoken, it is lived. If you declare abundance yet act in fear, your command is weakened. But when your actions mirror your words, when you spend with confidence, give with joy, work with expectation, and move with certainty, you embody truth, and truth becomes visible in form. Every step taken in alignment with abundance is a demonstration of faith, and faith always produces fruit. Obedience is not about restriction but about harmony, about living so fully in truth that every part of you vibrates with wealth. Prosperity flows not to hesitation but to alignment. The hesitant mind declares one thing and acts another, but the aligned mind declares and acts as one. When you say, "I am wealthy," and then make choices as though you are, you affirm truth at every level. The universe responds by multiplying opportunities that match your state. This is why prosperity is inevitable for the one who lives in obedience of truth. Because there is no contradiction, no mixed signals, no divided energy. The law has only one instruction to follow, and it fulfills it perfectly. Truth always produces freedom. To align with abundance is to free yourself from the bondage of fear, from the chains of scarcity thinking, from the illusion that supply is limited. Scarcity is a lie that crumbles the moment you affirm truth. When you obey truth, you no longer look at outer circumstances as your source, you look within to the divine supply that never runs dry. This freedom brings peace, and peace itself is prosperity, for it creates the atmosphere in which riches multiply without strain. Living in truth also means celebrating the abundance of others, for their wealth is proof of the same law that works for you. Jealousy and comparison are disobedience, for they deny the infinite nature of supply. To rejoice in another's riches is to affirm that riches are also yours, for the law is impartial. The universe responds to the vibration of joy by multiplying more of what you celebrate. By honoring the prosperity around you, you align yourself more deeply with truth, and prosperity flows with even greater ease. Every step into obedience strengthens the flow. Each time you resist the temptation to speak lack, each time you choose to declare wealth instead of fear, each time you act in faith rather than hesitation, you deepen your alignment. It becomes a way of life, a natural rhythm, a steady flow. Wealth no longer feels like something distant. It feels present, surrounding you, filling every corner of your experience. The more consistently you live in truth, the more natural prosperity becomes, until it no longer surprises you but feels inevitable, expected, undeniable. Prosperity flows to the obedience of truth, because truth itself is abundance. You are not fabricating wealth when you declare it, you are recognizing what already is. The universe is abundant by nature, overflowing with riches, and to live in harmony with it is to live in prosperity. The only block is disobedience to truth, speaking lack, believing limitation, acting in fear. Remove these contradictions and the flow is unstoppable. Align every word, every thought, every action with abundance, and the universe has no choice but to reflect it back.